so here I am. I have said I would document my adventures in trying to do the envelope border on the Berber Afghan. So from what I've learned, you need to go down a hook size. So I did the blanket in my 5mm dots crochet hook. So I've gone down here to my 4mm dots crochet hook, and what I'm attempting to do is, I guess what I've learned is you should start on the back side because it makes the front side look better. Perfect. So what we have to do is a single crochet, and I'm using the contrast color from the blanket to do front post single crochets around the entire edge to kind of prep the work, and then I'm going to do 2 rows of regular normal double crochet, and then I'll do 1 row of single crochet in the contrast color again, and then that will be one side of the envelope. Then I'll flip it over and I'll do the other side of the envelope and up to that same point, and then use 1 row of the main color, the soft white, to seam it all together. Wow! Okay, so let's see how this goes. So I have practiced, I've done the opposite end to here and then one end of the fringe. And let me tell you, the fringe end is going to be the end where if you struggle, that's where it's going to be the struggle. Because it's hard to make sure the fringe is not in your way. So, oh, and in the corners here, I'm going to do 2, for the single crochet rounds, it's going to be 2 single crochets, chain 2, 2 single crochets. For the double crochet rounds, it will be the same, but with double crochets. So what you want to do, can you see? Am I close enough to see? You're going to go in here and find the post of that single crochet and just do a front post single crochet around it. And there you go. So I don't know if I'm actually doing an actual front post because this is the cast on edge and it was a little difficult to try to figure out where to put my hook, but I just decided to put my hook here and go for it. So that's what I'm doing, and it seems to be working. I mean, I suppose as long as I'm consistent, what does it matter? One thing I have noticed is you kind of need to make sure your yarn stays in front here and lays nicely on this side of the work. You don't want it getting to the other side of the work. Which it's more important on the fringe stuff, but oops, split my yarn. And like I said, this is not meant to be a tutorial. This is just meant to be me documenting my efforts in trying to do my first envelope border. Oops. Oh, I'm not on screen. Shoot. Okay. Got a couple here left. What I found is when you do the corner here, you don't want to pick up the very first one. To me, I tried it and it made, I'm trying to skip one. It made the corner look bad. So on the next corner, I skipped it and the corner looks much sharper. So if you see me skipping a stitch and you're like, Erin, you've missed one, I'm doing it on purpose. So this is going to be our last front post single on this row. We've come to the corner. I've got that. Try to manage the fringe. Okay, so here's the corner. We're going to do 2 single crochets, chain 2, turn it. We're gonna do 2 single crochets. Let's see, you gotta try to make sure, I'm not even on camera, shoot. The fringe really tries to get sucked in with the yarn, so you're gonna have to try to pull it away. So you got 2 single crochets. I'm not gonna do a front post here. I'm gonna do the front post here. And there you go. And to me, it just makes it look a little neater and sharper there. Could you see? There you go. And now we're going to do the same here. So this is the fringe row. Let's try to manage the blankie. And turn it a bit. And again here on the edge, I don't know what the post is. Because your stitches are this way, so the posts would be different, right? So what I'm basically doing is, you see the knots here? I'm just going under the knots there and catching that edge, and that's the best I could think of. And here we're going to do this, and now this is where you really need to like bend that fringe back to make sure you're not sucking it back in the stitch with you. Oh, that one. See, this I would expect something to be there, but there's nothing there to catch. What am I? Oh, there it is. Okay, but that's brown. Okay, it's a make it work moment. Let's just, I guess, go here. I don't know. No, that's not right. Wait, did I just do that one? I did. Okay, never mind. Moving on. I'm confused. Okay, so we're doing that. And I have found here that you need to like tug on the fringe to make sure it's back there and not sticking here, because I've done it a few times where I could still see the fringe poking through the stitch. And you don't want that. There we go. Do that. And I'm sorry if there's more experienced envelope border makers out there and you're screaming at me saying you're doing it wrong. I very well could be. Like I said, this is not meant to be a tutorial. This is just me documenting what is happening. Sorry, oops. See, there. It went behind that little knot from the fringe. You don't want that. So I'm going to restart the stitch. Because I've found when that happens, it like wants to pull the fringe forward, and you don't. The whole point is to have the fringe sandwiched in between the two things, right? And there you go. I'm certainly not going to sit here at the table and have you watch me do the entire side of the blanket here. But I think you're getting the idea. And so what I'll do, when I started, I didn't start in the corner. I started on the first stitch. So when I get to the last corner, I'll do the 2 single crochets, chain 2, 2 single crochets, and then slip stitch into my first single crochet. And then I will change yarn, and I guess I'll come back, but I don't know if it's really interesting to watch me do double crochets, because like I said, I'm just doing this to pick it up, and then I'll do 2 rows of double crochets in cream, and then a row of single crochet in the brown again, and then that will be one side of the envelope, and then I'll flip it over and do the other side. I'll decide. I don't know. You know, since it's really not a tutorial and just documenting, I guess I'll come and document what I've done so you can see it. But there you go. The start of an envelope border. Like I said, the fringe side is by far the hardest side, and it took me a really long time to do the first fringe side. Let me try to turn it over here so you can see it. This is the side I finished. That's what it looks like here. And then if you flip it over, you can see like a running stitch here. And that is, from what I understand, going to be very helpful when we do the front side, because it's going to kind of tell us where to put the hook. I guess we kind of line up and try to do our front posts under that, and then it conceals it and it makes it a fresh front side. Okay. Wish me luck. Here I go. Okay, so here we are, part 2. Bingo and Brian are talking in the hallway. She's trying to convince him while he works from home that he should take some time out of the day to play hide and seek with her. He is saying he has to get in a conference call and cannot do so. Okay, so I said I would document the next stage. I was sitting in my comfy chair and I just went ahead and did it. So I figured I'd show you the end of the row. Like I said, I was going to do the next row in, I think I called this soft cream last time. This is called soft white. Super Saver, which is the main color of the blanket here. Or I'm pointing over here where you can't see me pointing. So this is soft cream. So this is the one row of single crochet in the front post that we did. I joined where I slip stitched and did a row of double crochets. So here I'm going to finalize this row. So we'll do double crochets through both loops, just normal double crochets. That distinction is probably more important in mosaic because so much you do in the back loops. And then we have our 2 single crochets from the corner left. So let's do those. 1, oops, 2, and then for each corner in the blanket, I did in the chain space 2 double crochets, chain 2. The blanket's so big you can't really turn it. It's kind of piled in my lap awkwardly. And then back in that same chain space, 2 double crochets, and then we should have 2 single crochets left. So we're gonna do 1 double in that one, 1 double in the last single crochet from the previous row. Now we're up to where I joined, so I'm going to slip stitch into the first double crochet there, and we're going to chain up. I just like to chain up 1. It's really kind of personal preference. And then I'm going to go around and do another row the exact same way. So 1 more row all the way around of double crochets through both loops, and in each corner in the chain 2 space, 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. And then as a reminder, I'm using the 4mm hook now. I went down a full hook size from a 5mm for the body to a 4mm for the border. And that is, I guess it makes it look neater. It makes it less likely that the border will become wavy, which frankly is a concern to me since we're adding extra bulk in that it will be 2 layers. But there we go. So just all the way around, double crochets in each of your prior stitches. And so on each row you're adding 4 stitches, 2 here from the double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, and then in the other corner you'll be adding some more. And after this one finishes, we are going to do a single round. We'll switch colors again to the cocoa and do 1 row of single crochets all the way around to add a decorative border, and that will be the end of this first envelope flap. So I'm working on the back side, and what we're going to do is we'll flip it. See, here's my, oh no, you're not seeing. Here's my fringe. It's already pretty well hidden there. So I think I did a pretty good job there. So then after I do that row of the cocoa, I will flip it around and do those 4 rows again on the front side of the work. And then we will finish it with a row of single crochets to seam the 2 flaps together and create our envelope and finish it. What? Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so I will tell you experience-wise, this row of single crochets, front post single crochets, felt like it took an eternity. But I am excited. Of course, the double crochets were easy as pie, even if they take a while. To me, a lot of people say they have second sock syndrome or sleeve syndrome, stuff like that. Borders are my undoing. I just want the blanket to be done. Like, I finished the blanket proper. It should be done. But no, I have to border it. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, I will be back when it is time to do our next task, which, as I said, a row of single crochets around the whole darn thing, again in the cocoa. Okay, see you soon. Okay, I am back. I am ready for the next step. This is the final row of this side of the envelope border. So this is the envelope border on the back side of the blanket. You can see that's the back right there. And then we will work on the front side. But we're on the last row of the black. And I realized I never showed in any of these videos how I tie on new yarn. It's not revolutionary, but since I'm documenting, let's document, right? Got my 4mm hook I've been using. I like to start with a slip knot. And so everyone has their own way. I don't think you have to start with a slip knot. For some reason in my head, I think it's more secure. So that's what I do. I probably isn't. I don't know where I made that up, but that is in my brain. So, because we're doing an envelope border, I am going to ignore my tail and I'm going to just hide it in the border. What? So, this is where I ended my last row. I'm going to just start in that same stitch. And what I'm going to do is go through, pull up a loop. I've got 2 loops on my hook, slip stitch through, and that's how I'm going to attach it. And then I kind of just pull it tight and hold that tail to the back. And then chain 1. And then that is how, in this instance, I would add a new yarn. So, nope, why did I yarn over? What we're going to do here for the last row is just a decorative row of this color to add it back in. So we're going to go around and do 1 single crochet in every single one of our stitches. Again, we're going straight into the top of the stitch. We're using both loops, none of the back loop only shenanigans that you have in the other parts of mosaic blankets. And when we get to the corners in that chain 2 space, you're going to do 2 single crochets, chain 2, 2 singles. So I had mentioned earlier that for the first corner, I picked up the very last row as well, and I thought it made the corner look a little wonky. This is the wonky corner. So that's just what I'm saying. See, it just has a little whoop there that the other corners do not have. So on all of the other corners, so this is another corner. It's from the back side, but you get the idea. It doesn't have that same vloop. It's a neater corner. So that's why I say I think I would skip that last stitch when doing the very first round where you're doing the front post singles. I guess there. No, you can't see that. There you go, where you're doing the front post singles. Okay, there you go. This is what I'm doing. 1 more round, single crochets in cocoa all the way around to add a decorative flare to the border. And when I'm done with that, I will come back and we will talk about starting the envelope on the front side of the work. Because remember, we're going to do this exact same thing, but on the other side. And then at the very end, we're going to come around and seam both flaps together with a row of just single crochets joining. And then we will have a completed blanket. And then I suppose the real stressful part comes where I launder it before I send it. Okay, but there you go. Just a row of single crochets all the way around. 2 single crochets, chain 2, 2 single crochets in the corner. That's my plan. And I will check back in where we will talk about starting the front side. I'm not looking to the front side because we got to do it all again. Those front post singles. It was an adventure. Okay, but we can do it. We can do the hard things and we can make beautiful items because of it, right? Okay, I'm going to talk to you guys later. And I mean, it'll be just like that for you, but not for me, of course. Okay. Okay, I think I'm in frame here. Okay, so as you can see, I've been working on this first row, the front post singles on the front side of the work. Let me tell you, this has been the worst row. Oh my gosh. Okay, so what we're doing here, just like you did on the other side here, on the back side, you're going around the whole edge and doing front post singles. Now what you have here that you didn't have the first time is, I almost said it's a needle, this is a hook. You have these marks, which is where your other side stitch was. So you can follow that and use that as a guide. The corners are terrible. My best advice. Okay, it is Sunday. Brian is home. Him and the kids are having some sort of Nerf battle, so if you can hear a funny laughing or something, that is the Nerf battle. Just find wherever it makes sense. Because, like, trying to duplicate that, I couldn't do it. I don't know. So what I would do, well, we'll get to it. But I plan on using this little space here, which was left by me skipping the first stitch or the last stitch. I think it was skipping the last stitch on the back side. I have this little extra piece. That little extra piece is what I'm going to use as my corner now. Okay? So, what you want to do, it's so hard to wrangle this on my lap. You want to make sure you're bringing your hook to the bottom. You want to go under. So go under that, pull this over, make sure it's lining up kind of under or at least on top of the mark, the yarn from the other side, and then you're going to pull it through, and this is so fiddly because on this side you're fighting the flap, you're fighting the stitch you've already put in there, and you're trying to make sure you don't catch the fringe. Okay, there you go. Our front post single. We're going to do that for these final stitches here. And yeah, there's a lot going on in these holes. I have found this to be a very tedious, difficult process on this round. But you just make it work. And now I'm sitting kind of oddly at a table doing it, and that's not super great. But we're doing it. We're making it work. And I hope this is of benefit to someone. Like I said, this isn't a tutorial. This is just me documenting my very first attempt at an envelope border based on everything I have learned. I have read some blog posts and watched some videos, and this is what I'm trying. It's kind of a combination of things. Okay, so now we're to our corner, and like I said, I'm going to just pretend this is my corner, and I'm going to put my 2 single crochets there, my Nope, don't do that. Chain 2, and then 2 more single crochets. I'm gonna shove them in there. Oh dear Lord. Okay, we're doing it, people. We're doing it. Oh, I've split the stitch. Let's do this. Okay, split the yarn. Ah! Okay, lost control there. We still have to do, gotta get the last single in. We will not be defeated. Okay, let's split it again. Okay. There we go. We have 2 singles, chain 2, 2 singles, and now when I started this row, I used a standing single. So I'm just gonna go in to that first single crochet and slip stitch. I'll do another and then clip it off, tug it, and there we go. And we're not going to worry about that tail. We are concealing it. Okay, so I'm not going to film the next 3 rows. It is an exact repeat of what we did last time. So you're going to attach your soft white, your cream colored yarn, whatever yarn you're using, whatever. Attach it, go around, do a row of double crochets. When you come to that chain space in the corner, do 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. Then I'm going to do another round in the creamy off-white color. So the same exact stuff, double crochet in each stitch, 2 DC, chain 2, 2 DC in the chain 2 spaces. Then we're going to clip that yarn, come back with the brown here, and do 1 row of single crochets to trim it. And in the corners, 2 single crochet. In the corners, 2 single crochets, chain 2, 2 single crochets. That'll be the end. And then I will come back for the very final step, which is a row of single crochets. We're going to go around again in the cream color to attach our 2 envelope ends, seal it up, and polish this bad boy off. Okay, so next time you see me, I will have this whole flap completed, and I will be on the final row. 4 rows left. We can do this. We can do the hard things, and it's going to be beautiful. I already have a sinking or a sneaky suspicion that I am going to disagree with all the advice on doing the envelope border. Everything I read, everything I was told was that you should start with the backside first. I think the backside so far is looking the neatest. I might say do the front side first and then do the backside. That's just what my gut is telling me. We'll see. Oh dear. I hope they're having fun. Okay. I will be back, as I said, on the final row of this endeavor. Okay. Bye-bye. Okay, things are looking a little wonky, but we're going to be okay with it. That is not... Oh, that's my scissor you're seeing there. Okay, so we're here for my final installment of what I did for an envelope border. So, I finished 2 sides. This is the 3rd side, and then I'll have the 4th side here. And all we're doing at this point, like I said, I did the front post single row, 2 rows of double crochet, and then a row of single crochet. I did not zoom in. That's why things were looking extra wonky. Oh my goodness. Erin, you'd think I'd have this down by now. I don't. Okay, so once again, I'm using my 4mm dots crochet hook. And at this point, I'm just sealing both of these flaps together with a single crochet through both stitches. So you just have to make sure you pick up both loops of the stitch on the front flap and the stitch on the back flap. I do have the right side facing me. I just thought that might make the stitches look a little neater. And I am double checking each time to make sure I've got both stitches. I'd hate to, miss half of the stitch or something on the final sealing round. And I'm kind of doing this a little tighter, trying to keep it kind of neat. And here we go. We're just doing our single crochets through both flaps. Oops. And then we're losing it. Single crochets through both flaps. Oh my goodness, why am I having such difficulty with this stitch? Catch it, bring it through. There we go. Who knows what the pups are going crazy at? It feels like I have a different number of stitches here. 1, 3, 4. I do, I've got 5. Ooh, okay, so we're going to do something tricky here. We're going to just take this stitch and do it to the stitch we already used. Oops, oh well. It happens. So now we'll keep going. And what we're doing, we got 2 stitches left. 1, 2. Now when we get to the corners, we've got that change 2 space. We're still doing 2 single crochets, chain 2, 2 single crochets around the corner, and then I'm gonna catch. This first one is a struggle, so I do flip it to make sure I don't mess up and miss that stitch. Yeah, I was gonna miss it, because remember, it's gonna want to hide in there. So make sure you're getting that first stitch. Come on, buddy. Both of ya. Both of ya. There we go. Deep breath. Let's try not to lose it so we get on the first go. Perfect. And then there we go. And we have switched sides. We're moving on. And I'm going to keep doing that down this final side. And when I get to the end, I'm just going to slip stitch with my first single crochet. I will have 1 end to weave in, and that'll be good. Okay, but this is going to be a fringe side. So what you have to do is just kind of make sure you've got the fringes tucked in there, and it'll look just perfect when you're done without having to, you know, sew in an end at all. You don't have to deal with these. Now, if for some reason your fringe is like longer than your flap, you probably want to go through and like trim it or something, but I guess you could just like, you know, gently encourage it to go into the envelope, depending on, you know, maybe how your envelope looks. If it's kind of a like light colored one or something and you've got crazy colored yarn that might show through, that might not work. You might want to trim it. But here I'm not seeing any sort of issue like that, and that's just my gut talking. I haven't, like I said, this is my first attempt at this, and I have not read that anywhere. So there we go. That is what we're doing. 1 single crochet, and I've got 1 length of the blanket left, and then we will be done. We will be done. I'm so excited. This has been such a fun adventure, and the envelope border has been tedious, I'm not gonna lie, but it's been, you know, a little easier and less scary than I initially thought. So don't be scared of them. Just know that, in my opinion, that very first front post border or front post row was the worst. If you can make it through that, you can make it through the border. I believe in you. You've got it. Okay, so I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to wash it and I'm going to send it on out. Okay, thank you so much for joining me. I'm not going to come back and like show the finished product here. Honestly, I'll probably do it during my Things We're Making Thursday, since this is my Things We're Making Thursday project. And then, in all likelihood, I will be so excited that I will show it off again during my weekly roundup, because this has been a big endeavor. Okay, so I will talk to you guys later. I hope this was informative and helpful. I do keep tugging on it because that front post kind of wants to fold in a little bit, but I think after washing it, that will kind of lessen, I hope. Fingers crossed. Okay, but I do think it looks very nice. I think it looks nice. I hope it looks nice. Fingers crossed. Yeah, I think it looks good. Okay, talk to you later. We always second guess ourselves, right? We are crafters. That is what we do. Now I'm really gonna go. Okay, bye-bye!